One stock we are watching today is SodaStream. The shares of the Israeli maker of the popular home seltzer machine, the do-it-yourself soda maker, shot up overnight on reports that both Coca-Cola and PepsiCo are in talks to buy the company. Well, PepsiCo issued a statement earlier this morning that the rumor is completely untrue. Bloomberg's Elliot Gotkin talked to SodaStream CEO Daniel Birnbaum last month, and this is what the CEO said about the company.
Whatever we're missing, we're putting in place to grow as fast as the consumer wants us to grow, not as fast as our investors want me to grow.
But do his growth plans include a sale of the company? Well, with me now is Duane Stanford. He's Bloomberg's reporter for consumer brands, including PepsiCo and Coca-Cola. Duane, glad to have you back with us. And, you know, we were actually talking to Wilbur Ross a few moments ago, and he said to me during the commercial break, he said, when I saw that news come out, I thought it was kind of strange that PepsiCo would even want to be involved with SodaStream. Would that strike you as an uneasy alliance?
Yeah, it did. Frankly, it seemed a little weird to me, too. It's been quite an interesting morning. You know, obviously, SodaStream has said for a while that they want to do some sort of licensing deal with one of the big soda companies. They want their syrups. So far, nothing's happening with that. Apparently, you know, we've seen reports that they've been shopping themselves around, but it would be kind of tough. I mean, SodaStream has really been taking on the big soda companies and marketing themselves against those companies, saying that the companies are wasteful with their plastic bottles and, you know, it's not as healthy. So it'd be tough to see an alliance like that.
Well, is there perhaps some thinking behind it that, you know, it's a way to take out a competitor?
Yeah, you know, you never know. I mean, that's definitely in the cards. They have been, you know, creating a good bit of sort of anti-traditional soda discussion out there, so which is always a concern for the big soft drink companies, especially in the U.S. where regular cola is already pretty challenged.
Duane, how much do we know, or what are people telling you in terms of whether or not this do-it-yourself soda phenomenon that SodaStream has kind of launched, whether or not it's permanent or is it just a temporary fad?
Yeah, I think there's still questions, obviously. I mean, overall, it's small compared to the entire soft drink market. I've talked to folks who really love it. They find a couple of flavors that they really love. I've talked to other folks who, you know, over time, they use it less. Sometimes it's more fun for social gatherings than just everyday use. I mean, there is still a convenience with bringing things, soft drinks from the prepackaged from the grocery. Of course, SodaStream says theirs is more convenient because you don't have to lug the soda. So I think long term, it'll be interesting to see if they can continue that kind of growth and how big that audience gets.
Duane, Bloomberg also, you know, you and I, by the way, had talked about Coca-Cola in Myanmar. Well, Bloomberg also talked to PepsiCo CEO Andrew Nui earlier this morning on how PepsiCo is expanding into the Myanmar market. And I wanted to, Duane, just play for you one of the comments that she mentioned about that market.
I've met a lot of the leaders in Myanmar, and I find them to be sensible. They listen. They're humble. They want to learn. That's unusual. And so I draw great optimism from that. Second, I think because Myanmar is surrounded by so many countries who've gone through their own experiment with growth and reform, there are so many lessons that can be applied to Myanmar, lessons that worked and lessons that didn't work.
So how big of a battleground is Myanmar going to be for PepsiCo and Coca-Cola, Duane?
Oh, they're both going to be battling hard for that area. PepsiCo they say they're working on creating a production plant there themselves, which will heat up that battle even more. The whole game is how quickly can we replace what Myanmar consumers are drinking now with our brand and get our brand out before the competitor. So you can bet they're going to be going at it hard. And of course, both. What's interesting is those Indra Nooyi and Muhtar Kent are both as much diplomats around the world as they are soda makers. So you'll see them really, you know, working with that government and trying to make a go of it there.
And from Myanmar, what are the next sort of frontier markets that both Coca-Cola and PepsiCo are targeting?
Well, Africa is still a big opportunity. Coca-Cola has a lead there over PepsiCo. Coca-Cola is in a lot of parts of that continent. There's a lot of room to grow still. I know it's a place that Muhtar Kent has said he's very focused on. And then, of course, China. China's always going to be one that both companies are going to compete very aggressively for. And with the recent slowdown there, it's going to be interesting to watch how they maneuver that and how they compensate for some of that.
Well, mentioning in China, Duane, let me just play one more comment from you from Indra Nooyi about the Chinese market.
So China is quickly going to become the largest beverage market in the world. And, 5 or 10 years after that could be the largest snack market. So again, the challenge in China is how do we grow in a way that we hire the people, train them, build the business as we go along. Because through distribution you can grow rapidly. But if you're building a business in China, you've got to put in place all the infrastructure. So we are very, very bullish on China. And the recent economic slowdown has not impacted food and beverage items at this point.
What's going to be the fastest growth for PepsiCo in China, Duane?
What's going to be the fastest growth? Well, soft drinks obviously are the thing you lead with, and that's what they'll be pushing those very hard. But also their non-carbonated portfolio is pretty important there too. But it's easy to forget that PepsiCo is as much a food company as it is a beverage company. So tailoring snacks to local Chinese taste will be a big part of what they do, especially with the Frito-Lay line. So I would definitely look for that as well.